2013 here in the foyer of Leeds University Union. We're broadcasting live right now at lstv.co.uk and at leedsuniversityunion.org.uk/live. If you can't be here all day, do check it out online. We have full video manifesto overviews of each of the candidates between the speeches and the question times. And if you want to watch them back, you can do at youtube.com/LSTV videos. Now, the next position is the activities officer position. We have 9 candidates, and as always, we'll be taking your questions after the set questions have been worked through. I will ask you to raise your hand later on in the debate if you do have a question, so get thinking of them now. Alternatively, you can tweet us. It's at Leeds Student TV or using the hashtag LEADLUU. Okay then. Let's move on now to our first candidate for the position of Activities Officer. As with the Leeds student, they have 1 minute exactly to speak, and you all know who to look at for the timings. If you do go over, I will have to stop you. Okay, first up, let's get Chris Burnell.
The Leadership Race 2013.
Hi, I'm Burnell, for those of you who are wondering. I'm running under the slogan, Yell for Burnell. I'm current president of English Society and I'm the amateur boxing social sec. There's several things I want to do for you, but if you check my manifesto online, the main thing is making performance hour in the union for anyone, especially for performance societies or those studying music or English who want to read poetry or anything like that. Just have a space in the union every day where they can perform for free, so people can come in with their sandwiches, listen. If they don't like it, they can leave. If they like it, they can stay. It's also for people who've never been to certain shows like TG shows or dance expose shows. It's a real taster for them for free. I also want to bring in free hot water on campus, somewhere around the union where you can get free hot water. I also want to make the advertising in the union about you and your clubs, so anything that's going on around the union, you guys should know about it, and I love the idea of the paper. I also want to make disability sport the most important thing in the union at the moment because we offer nothing, and it should be, especially after the Paralympics, it should be there. We've got such a great sporting prowess. Thank you.
Chris Burnell there, everybody. Okay, the second candidate for the position of Activities Officer is Alex Doddy.
I'm Alex Doddy. Number of things I want to do for you guys is competition funding. If you're a dance group, you're a debating society, you're in chess, competitions, entry fees, you know, just getting there is always a big issue. I want to provide a fund all year round so people can apply when they find out about these competitions, not at the start of the year. It's not going to fund the whole thing, it might just get you a little step of the way there. Big issue is space in the union. Storage space is always at a premium. There's a whole floor where the union music library is that's currently under review. It's got some accessibility issues, it's got a fire escape issue, but I've got the building plans and I've been rejigging the way it works and I'll push walls away. I want to give every society the opportunity to have space if they need it. I want to give more support to society committees. Most people don't know exactly what they can do with the website, so I want to give more options for them and I want to make sure they know exactly how to use the tools they have at their disposal. Thank you.
Alex Doddy there. The next candidate for the position of Activities Officer is Maya Dom.
Hey, I'm Maya, and yeah. Right, so my first policy is Your Society in 60 seconds, and that's going to be like an online Freshers' Fair made up of videos, because Freshers' Fair is quite like overwhelming, and like postgraduates and people like that don't always go. So that means that everyone would be able to find out what's going on, what societies there are, and they can join, like find it all out in their own time. I also want to do a Leeds Fringe Festival, which would be on the grass outside the front of the union in Freshers' Fair, and anyone can book a slot and showcase their talents. I think the best thing about this is that you don't have to be a society, you can be an individual or a musician or something like that, and you just get to like get involved. I also want to make the Sportal, which would be a sports website, and all the fixtures would be up there so you can go and spectate, you actually know what's going on. And also it would have sections for departmental and intramural sports, and I'm about to get cut off. But look it up online and don't make the dumb choice, make the dumb choice.
Maya Dom. The fourth candidate to take to the stage for the position of Activities Officer is Chloe Robertshaw.
Hello everyone, my name's Chloe Robertshaw. I'm president of MT, Music Theatre Society, and Beyonce enthusiast. My main idea is I want to completely reorganise Give It a Goes. I want to make them more activity-specific, like on activity-specific days, kind of like sports days you had at school. So, like all the dance ones would be on the same day, because if someone's involved in like street dance, they're probably going to be involved, like want to be involved in modern dance. So I think that would be less intimidating and much easier to get involved in. I also want to work out some sort of mentoring system so that bigger societies can sort of mentor the smaller, newer societies, teach them how to manage their money, make their societies a success. I think that would offer invaluable advice for the small societies, while also providing consultancy skills for the bigger societies if they wanted to go on and do anything in business. I also want to work out a wristband system so that if you've got an event going on in the union, the members of your society get a wristband which get them a 10% discount in essentials. I know that I've spent my entire student loan in essentials, so I think that would be really helpful. Thanks for listening. Thanks very much.
Great. Chloe Robertshaw there. I was just going to stop you, but you stopped just in time. Okay. Next up for Activities Officer, we have Greg Sturge.
Hi everyone, my name's Greg. I'm running under the slogan Urge for Sturge. My manifesto is online. I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on why I'm experienced and why I should get the vote for this role. The last 2 years I've been the elected sports representative. That means I spent loads of time working with representatives from all 13 areas of student activities, working very closely with previous activities officers. I know exactly what's going on. I know who the big people in the union are. I know where the change needs to be made, and I know what change needs to be made. It's given me a really good insight into the problems facing specific areas. So I know what's going on with sports, obviously, but I am a musician myself, so I know what's going on with performance and dance societies. I know the problems with the departmental societies. It's given me a really, really good understanding, and I think I'd be very well placed to make an immediate impact over the summer and hopefully get my policy changes ready to go before we even get back to term in September. So feel the urge for Sturge and vote me #1 for activities. Thank you.
Greg Sturge. Okay, next up we have Gary Wood.
Hello, I am Gary. Just to give you an idea, the main theme of my campaign is more promotion for societies, because I know there's a lot that goes on in the union that a lot of people don't know about and they don't get involved with. So I want a big events board in the union just showing off all the events that are going on across all societies. So that could be sporting fixtures that people might want to go watch, or like the big dance shows like tomorrow. That I think it's hard because societies really need to self-promote themselves. And I don't think they should, because I think the union should be doing more for that. I also want to offer more rewards for societies, so a cashback system on union socials, just so the union's more competitive with other bars out there that are offering a lot. I want better relationships between societies, because I think societies can really help each other more, and there's a lot that they're missing out on. My own background is sport, so I can develop a lot for sport. And yeah, I just want to build more of a union community and help the unions support the societies so everyone knows what's going on. Thanks.
That's Gary Wood. Next up for the position of Activities Officer, Jack Bell.
Jack Bell, rocking the mic. Hi, I'm current club captain for rugby, and bear with me, I'm not all about sports, but the most important point is to create a new athletic union to separate the sports clubs from every other society. So that way the activities officer can focus on every performance group, welfare, volunteering, departmental, rather than having to focus so much on sports. And that way sports can focus on getting into the Bucks top 10 institutions for sport. So Jack Bell, ringing the changes. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
That's Jack Bell. The penultimate candidate that we will hear from is Chris Powell.
Hi there, everyone. I've got 4 key points in my campaign. 1 is sponsorship. Everyone's feeling the squeeze at the moment, and in Leeds, there are plenty of companies out there that are willing to sponsor societies. So I want to take you guys from your societies into the city, take you to tender, in inverted commas, and get you the money so you can go out and do the things you want to do with your society. As well as that, it's about increasing participation in sport. There are 4,000 staff and students that participate in IM, and with the building on the back of the Olympics and the Paralympics of getting people more involved with sport. As well as that, is taking societies and improving your general society experience. Everyone pays, well, the first years are now paying £9,000, so they should get the best out of the university and their societies. So getting people in from Leeds and getting people into your societies, professionals, whether it's performance-based or sports-based or anything. The 4th and 7th of March, vote PAL to the people, and together we'll make sure you love your time at Leeds.
That's Chris Powell. The final candidate for the position of Activities Officer is Chris Berry.
Hi there, I'm Chris Berry. I want to find simple methods to fund societies effectively, such as allowing all societies to sell fruity tickets and get a £1 profit per ticket sold directly back into societies. I just want to tackle the issues that we have right now with the union in terms of communication and also the cash office. For the communication, I want a 24-hour deadline response for all emails sent to staff. And for cash office, I want a separate cash office just for the societies, which will be open at student-friendly times and tailored to our needs. I also look at student futures in terms of employment afterwards. Leeds students have been known from graduate employers have given feedback and said students from Leeds are the least vocal in expressing how they use their experiences to get jobs in terms of extracurricular involvement. I want to look at providing skill sets for all societies and all committee members so they can directly translate onto their CV about what skills they gain in the roles they're involved with, and also have mentor schemes involved where successful societies can get involved with new societies and develop them further. So, back Berry and vote Chris Berry, #1 for activities. Thank you.
That's Chris Berry. Now, if I can ask all 9 candidates to come and take a seat either side of me, we will begin the question time. Whilst we wait, if you have just joined us, welcome along. This is the Lead LUU question time for the exec and lead student positions. Voting will open on the 4th of March, and this hopefully will help you make your decisions as to who you will be voting for. If you still don't know, based on what you've seen already or what you do see throughout the day, you can use Vote Match on the LUU website. At the moment, we are interviewing and asking these guys about the position of Activities Officer. We've had a few questions in already from you guys online on the Leeds University Union website over the past week or so. We'll get them answered first, and then we'll open it up to the floor and to the Twitter sphere. Do we have enough chairs? Excellent. Okay. Just like the last one, as we ask the questions, there will be random who begins them, and we will skip through from one side to the other until the second time when I will randomise them. So we'll begin at the far right here and work right the way round. Following that, we will randomise who answers first. Okay then, the first question for the activities candidates. How will you involve students that don't normally get involved with activities? If you can answer the question and say your name before you do so. Thank you.
Chloe Robertshaw. The whole thing, my slogan's Give It a Go with Chloe. I really want to place real importance on Give It a Go's because I know they can be intimidating. I think I want to make separate Give It a Go's for international students, part-time students, postgrad students, and then work on really collaborating between societies so that it's not, you don't have to decide to choose one society. You can take part in lots of different ones. I think reorganising the Give It Goes is going to make them much less intimidating and people much freshers, much less scared to sort of go along, because I know I was a nervous wreck at some of the Give It Goes that I went to. So that's what my idea.
Okay, Chloe, thank you very much. Next.
Greg Sturge. I certainly think we need to target international students. I don't think we do enough for them, particularly the ones that come in after Christmas. So I think we really need to push that refreshers fair and make sure we're getting as many students involved as possible. I also think that nearly every student is going to be involved in their departmental society in one way or another. So let's really push that system, make sure we really hammer home the intramural sports and make sure that keeps developing, expand the range of sports on offer, get departmental societies doing performances, doing shows, and make sure it's really accessible for as many students as is physically possible.
That's Greg Sturge. On to your left.
Chris Powell. I would say that we need to engage freshers more from the outset. Sorry. and get each society to write short bits about them, whether it's sent out via email, through freshers packs, through departmental freshers things. I know the chemistry department, for example, they send out things to their freshers about societies and have been emailing around, getting societies to write little blurbs about what they do and what they're about so people engage and know what's on offer before they get to Leeds. Thank you.
Okay, next.
Chris Burnell. Similar sort of ideas, but I really want to build a brochure that goes out to every single new student who comes to university, international or not, and they receive that before they arrive, so they can flick through it all, that has every society on offer, and they can choose before they arrive where they want to go and what they want to do with their time at Leeds, because we're not here that long and we really need to seize the opportunity.
Okay, if you could grab that microphone there and just bring it right the way down here for our next question. And the question still, how will you involve students that don't normally get involved with societies?
Hi, Gary Wood. I think Freshers' Fair is something that there's so much info on one day, and then people leave and they forget exactly what they've seen, who they've spoken to. So I want more, like with the promotion, the events board I mentioned, if people are seeing what's going on every day, they might come in and see that their departmental society is throwing a lot of great socials, and then they might think, I might go along and actually get involved with some of those, and they might think, they might see sporting events and go have a look, and then hopefully that'll make people who haven't really connected with any society see that there's a huge range of societies and there's a society for everyone, and then they should get involved.
Okay, next, just don't forget your name before you start.
Alex Doddy. Two things. One, departmental societies, as everybody's mentioned, incredibly important. They don't just give you the opportunity to meet other people in your department. They do actually give you useful skills and information on the industries you're going into. I know MECEngSoc have been to Cameron. I know that FISSOC are planning a trip to go see CERN. On top of that, there's also freshers. It's more of an issue for general interest societies that, because we are quite varied, I want to reorganize the way it works so you're next to groups that are relevant to your interests. So sci-fi, anime, comic, etc. should all be in one place. Also with the departmental societies, during freshers, they were put down at the last minute to the Edge Sports Hall. So they were out of the way, everybody. It wasn't advertised very well, and I just want to sort that out effectively.
Okay, next.
Hi, Chris Berry. I think part of it is about re-educating people about why they should be in societies. With everyone having to pay £9 a year for them now, people think they should be spending all their time in the library to make sure they get the best grade, so they're getting a job once they leave university. But a lot of employers now are wanting people to be part of societies and show they have responsibilities. So instead of people, they're not going to appreciate people who have spent 3 years just in the library. So we need to be incorporating and educating people why they should be joining societies. And also people are put off by the money and costs. I think we really need to be promoting the cheaper and sort of fundraising-based societies where you're not actually having to give that much money into the society to be a part of it. And I also think departmental, we should get as much people involved in those. So having, for example, in freshers, when they start in their welcome packs, having the time and date of their first departmental social, so they're already knowing what's going on with it and are already involved. Thanks.
All right, next up.
Hi, I'm Maya Dom, and I've got this bit down. Involvement is like the most important thing, I think, about activities. So the video Freshers Fair thing, that's really important because it targets people that might feel a bit too on the fringe to get involved. So mature students, international students, people that maybe just weren't at Freshers Fair, whatever, can access it all online and get the information they need to know what society they want to join. The Fringe Festival gets people involved that aren't part of societies, because activities is about opportunities as well. So yeah, maybe if you're in a band and you can just perform, and also because it's just out there, it'd be in the public space, so people see what's going on and that makes them want to get involved. The Sportal, fixtures will be up so you can get involved as a spectator as well as an athlete, and because I'll have leagues for intramural and departmental sport, that's a basic level or a more casual level where people can get involved if they don't want to be part of hardcore sport. And maintaining free Wednesday afternoons as well, so you have the time to get involved.
And finally.
Thank you, Jack Bell. I've held many focus groups, and this topic came up quite a lot. And we came to the conclusion that departmental societies need to be more outgoing, and hopefully I'd like to create partnerships between all the societies, so as in different sections, so welfare with sports, departmental with performance, each together so that everyone feels one union and that people can put their fingers in many pies. And I just feel that I'm not properly connected with on my course, and that has the greatest potential for people to join in with activities. So it starts with the departmental societies.
Okay then, keeping to the slightly broader question for the second, and then we'll get into the real specifics of what's been asked so far. Second question. Now, the activities officer, as we know, represents 13 different categories of group, including sport, dance, performing, etc. Now, each of you have different experiences and I suppose different expertises in each area, but how will you represent those groups that you have least experience dealing with? Let's start from the left with Jack Bell.
Well, obviously I come from a very sporting background, but that's not how I want it at all. Like I said before, with my one model for sports clubs, if we can separate off the sports so that the activities officer has so much more time to deal with everyone else, I'd love to learn so much more about everyone else. In terms of the last couple of weeks when I've been campaigning, I've found out so much more about volunteering, welfare, performance than I ever knew, and I'd love to be given the chance to find out even more.
Okay, and next, Maya.
Hi. Do I have to say my name again? No. Cool. Yeah, I think I'm quite lucky with this because I'm part of quite a lot of different things. Like as a cheerleader, I'm on a dance team and a sports team as well. And yeah, but I reckon probably I'm least involved in my departmental society. And I reckon that's because when I joined, I didn't really know what English society would actually do. I sort of had this image that we'd just read books all the time and whatever. So I think it's about knowing what the societies actually do, because it's not really all in the name. So yeah, I'd use my society in 60 seconds thing, so people have an actual understanding of what it is to be part of your departmental society.
Chris Berry.
I think quite simply, you've just got to learn. There's so many. I've been involved in quite a lot of different ones. I've been involved fundraising. I've been involved in sport. I've been involved with quite a few. But the ones I haven't been involved with, I've been learning over in the past few weeks quite quickly. I've been speaking to lots like the Islamic Society, who've got so many concerns, and also speaking to people, societies who believe even though they're in the category that suits them best, it doesn't tailor to their needs. I know that BPM understand why they're in performance, but they also know that when they go to performance group meetings, there's not much relevant to them. So I think the simple answer is you just got to be getting in touch with and communicating with as much of the department as possible and just learning what they need. I don't think there's a real answer to saying how you can get more involved with the ones you don't know about, other than that, really.
Alex Doddy.
Yeah, I have to agree. Over the last couple of weeks, I've learned a huge amount about a variety of different groups that I wasn't part of. I've been running the Sci-Fi Society for 3 years, and I've been part of a number of other general interest groups, as well as part of my departmental society. But say sports, it's only recently with Mekenge getting involved with their intramural football, holding a Desmos charity football event. I've actually been to Wheatwood for the first time, seeing what facilities are really available. It's things like that. As I've said, it's learning about what's available and talking to the people that are actually involved and seeing what they need and then addressing those issues.
Okay, Gary Wood, just before we do, a reminder to keep our microphones as close to our mouths as possible. That'd be brilliant. Thank you. Gary?
Yeah, I'm from a sporting background myself, but I don't think it's really the main reason I ran. And I just, doing all this is again, it's got me go around all the societies, find out the huge range we have and exactly what they're about. So I think if elected, I just kind of strive to be approachable and try and chat to all the societies, get to know their problems, and it's something with the promotion, because I'd want to push the promotion, it means I can talk to all the societies on a weekly basis and then try and get their important events so I can push those, and then I'll get to know what societies want on boards and screens around uni. Chris
Bennell.
Yeah, I've been a part of quite a few societies at my time here. I've been in Wine Society, Departmental Society, Sports Societies, and the most important thing is we need to make them all feel that they're wanted. So having a drop-in hour where every single week I have an hour set aside where any president or any committee member or any person in a society can come to me with their issues, what they feel they're not getting, what they're getting too much of, just so they feel that someone's there to listen to them and give them the support and make them feel more comfortable in the union, because that's what the union should be all about.
Okay, next up, Chris Powell.
It's about being that go-to person in the union. So as elected as activities officer, you're the person that people and presidents and just general members of union societies look to and go to if they've got problems. So being open with them, meeting with their needs, the assemblies that the different groups have are there for people and societies to air their issues, which then, as activities officer, you can help resolve. So it's about getting in the nitty-gritty and just talking to people and finding out what they want and how you can help.
Greg Sturge.
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys have been saying they've been learning about the different societies over the last couple of weeks. I've been doing that for the last 2 years. Getting a real insight into the problems that each area faces. And I think that knowledge is reflected in the breadth of endorsements I've secured in this campaign. I've got people coming in from all the different areas of student activities, all 13 areas. In terms of making sure that awareness was spread wider, I want to introduce a Society of the Week for each area of student activities, and they would then get a central space in the student union to promote whatever it is that's going on that week that makes them that Society of the Week, get space on all the TVs that are up in Terrace, Old Bar, in the union foyer, and really give them the chance to really promote what they're doing so everyone knows what's going on.
And finally, Chloe Robertshaw.
Hi, I think the most important thing is making each society feel equally valued. The massive societies feeling just as valued as the smaller societies, so that they all feel like they can come and talk to the activities officer. And I think I'm quite approachable, and they can come and talk to me and tell me what they need, and then I can work towards doing that. I think making them all feel equally important is the most important thing. I think if you sort of separate them out a bit, so have separate publicity boards around the union, it'll sort of highlight, rather than having it all in one space, it'll highlight and give societies more of a space to work with in terms of promoting their events. And I just think helping those smaller societies get up and running and become good in their own right, I think.
Okay, we will turn to the floor very, very soon. A couple more questions into the specifics now of the union and the workings of it. The first one, do you intend to get the Raven Theatre up and running? We'll start here with Gary Wood, please.
Yeah, I think a lot of the performance societies around, we don't have the space, and there's a lot of struggle with shows and things, and I think any theatres we can get, any more space, can only be a good thing, so yeah.
Okay, and moving to your left.
Yep. Short answer obviously is yes, because it's a facility that the union offers, and currently it's rather derelict, it's filled with rubbish. I know Harry Potter Society have had a big issue when they've been forced to train in there. I know Sci-Fi have turned it down a number of times purely because it is entirely useless in its current form. The whole place needs to be cleaned, it needs to be repainted. One of the things for sports societies is because they have to pay a premium if they want to use stage at Leeds, or you have to be a member of the Edge if you want to use the Edge facilities, is the Treehouse. I want to turn that also into a sport and performance, not a sport and performance, a dance and performance area, spring-loading the floors and soundproofing the walls and making it available for free for these societies.
Okay, Alex started there. Moving on to Chris Berry.
Thanks. Yes, is the short answer again. It's already something that's sort of been worked towards with the union. It's one of their big money ventures at the moment, is to get the Raven up and running again. Pretty much every society is being promised and is asking for more space. It just seems like a simple method. I don't know if it would happen in the next, well, I do know it probably won't be happening by next year, but it is something that we should definitely be working towards and making sure we can get to be more usable and accessible for everyone.
Okay, and next up?
Yeah, more space is obviously always a good thing. And I definitely think we have some amazing shows, and it's just good to get as much of that going on as possible. However, I do know that, like, having spoken to a few people, it is really expensive and it's like quite a money worry, so I think it would definitely have to be like properly considered, do like a cost analysis of it before like just saying yeah, but something can definitely be done for the Raven.
Maya Dom there. Finally, Jack Bell on this side.
I'd say that we're here for the student voice, and if the students want the Raven Theatre to be opened up again, then I'd say yes, it is a long-term goal. I know that there's alumni funds accessible to most societies. So whether that would need to be the route that people would go down to find the funding for the Raven Theatre. But I think you can't really expect any answer other than yes, because that's what people are wanting. I've spoken to so many societies and everyone's complaining about space. And no matter how much cost it is, I think obviously we go in the best of our ability to get it done.
Okay, next up, Chris Burnell, same question.
Yeah, I think it's not just important to get performance spaces. I mean, the Raven Theatre in itself is a great rehearsal space for societies, and that's something that is obviously the most important aspect of a show. The fact that you've got the ability to rehearse and get into a space that is similar to where you'll be actually performing. The fact that some societies can only put on like 3 or 4 shows a semester or 3 or 4 shows a year really limits what they can showcase and what they can achieve and get. And it limits how many students they can get involved. So absolutely, I think we should work towards not just the Raven, as many places as possible around the uni to get open up.
Okay, next up, Chris Powell.
Having taken rehearsals in the Raven with, I know there are some SMS dotted around at the back, it's cold, it's grotty, and it's just not a very nice place at the moment to rehearse. It will cost a lot of money to redo. Having met with Jeff Banks of Student Activities, I know how much it is going to cost. And with my plans of bringing in sponsorship for societies, as well as funding to sort of make these spaces available, and tapping into the Footsteps Fund that the university runs with alumni, and generally the university wanting to raise over £60 million through alumni. If the union can get involved in that and have its own alumni setup to contact ex-students, who I can guarantee, if anyone asks me in 10 years' time what part of LUU I remember the most, it is about the societies, and people will remember having to rehearse in the Raven and how horrible it is. So tapping into alumni and funding and getting it that way, and we can make that space available.
Greg Sturge.
Yeah, I definitely think the Raven needs to be worked on. It's got a lot of potential and it's just not being fulfilled at the moment. I think the same can also be said for the Riley Smith. That could be turned into a fantastic performance centre for the performance, the dance, the cultural societies. And I know there is already work being put into motion to start fundraising for that, so I'm very keen to push that through. I also think when it affects so many societies, there's a massive potential for really big joint fundraising efforts. So if all those societies can come together, you know, off the top of my head, I'm thinking a massive flash mob down in the centre of town or something at peak rush hour, you could actually start raising a serious amount of money, and that would go a long way towards funding those redevelopments.
And finally, Chloe Robertshaw.
I think the Raven is a complete waste of a space, but I'm not under any illusions that it's going to be done in the next few years. It needs a lot of money putting into it. It's not simply a case of painting the walls and it'll be fine. Like it's a massive project, but I feel like you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here, because you can. I mean, I was involved in a fundraising showcase for the Raven last year, which to raise money to renovate it. And I think if you had more of those, you can not only raise money for the Raven, but also promote societies. And I think that would, yeah, I mean, it would be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And I think if you have lots of those, I mean, it's just 1 step closer to renovating the space and making it a fantastic performance space.
All right then. Thank you very much, all candidates, for that. That was another set question in. Let's turn now to the audience and to the Twitter sphere. I see a hand already as that at the very back. Shot up there. Let's get a microphone to him.
Rather than asking all 9 candidates to give an identical answer again, I wanted to ask 3 specific ones to individual candidates, if that's okay.
We can't take specific questions, I'm afraid. If you make it quite broad so all candidates can answer.
Okay. Certain candidates in their manifestos have put things which quite clearly have nothing to do with activities officers' actual roles and duties. So without naming anyone, don't know what hot water has to do with that, and I'm not sure that IMS is a union-run scheme. How union-specific do you see your manifesto, and how realistic do you think that your actual aims are?
Okay, how likely is it that your aims in your manifestos will come about? We'll start randomly with Greg Sturge now.
I think my manifesto has a good mix of things that are very easily achievable and some very ambitious targets. I'd like to see Wednesdays completely cleared of university, and I know that's not going to happen next year. What I do think we can happen is, firstly, we can make the university stick to the rules that are there already and that they're breaking, of not having anything after 1 o'clock. But that's too late. I think it's very realistic that we can knock that back by another hour or two to actually make Wednesday very much focused on student activities. I also think that as a body, we have a massive power and a massive influence that we are able to exert on wider university policy. So although a lot of it is focused on the union, there is inevitably an overlap, and I think we need to make sure we can use the power that we have as a body to make sure our interests are best represented in that sort of grey area that covers both sides.
Okay, if we can go to Maya Dom next, please.
I'm guessing the IMS comment was aimed at me there. But I think that it would be ridiculous to just ignore something because you don't think it's the union's job. The union's here to make everybody's university experience amazing. And I know Ed's done a lot of work with intramural sport this year, and that's been really important. So what I'm saying with this portal is that we'll be able to publicise the leagues and people will know what's going on and be able to get involved. And I'm not going to make any apologies if you don't think that's relevant, because I think it is.
Okay, Gary Wood, if we can get the mic to him, please.
Yeah, I think most of my manifesto is just straight off easily achievable for promotion in terms of promoting events. I mean, we've got the projector, which is currently sitting there doing absolutely nothing. It's just a case of putting something up on there. It would take hardly any time, and then it would just be for me to talk to societies to get things on it. Reward system, I think that's fairly easy to implement. I think most of the things I've said are, in terms of Wednesdays, because that's something I think is really improved this year, getting Wednesdays free, and I think it's just a case of keep pushing that. And for me, that's about awareness for module managers that Wednesday is a social day, and student life is more than just academics. Yeah.
Chris Bennell, please.
Again, similarly, I'm assuming that hot water remark was aimed at me. We're employed or elected as activities officers and as welfare officers and as all 7 positions. But I think our remit of our job goes so much further than that, because it's about students enjoying their time in the union, because at the end of the day, we're elected to lead the union. We all have our certain areas, but we need to look wider than that. And I think that's really important. So, yeah.
Okay, moving to your right now, please. Let's have Chris Powell.
I think the main points on my manifesto are all very achievable. During my time at Leeds, I've worked in the city centre with an arts organisation, and during the summer I worked for SPA with the China Olympic camp. So I have the contacts within the city to be able to engage, to bring in this increased society experience, as well as the fundraising targets I have for societies. With the comments you've made about IM Sport is relevant, I think, to activities because of the teams that engage with IM. So there are the halls, with the halls exec that Ed's worked with this year and getting halls teams involved, departmental teams as well. They all come under the jurisdiction of activities. So I think engaging with those societies, we can build IM and build on the legacy of 2012 and increase participation across campus on IM Sport.
Alex Doddy, please.
Most of the stuff on my manifesto, I believe, is fully achievable, but there is 2 things that are going to be quite big. One being the treehouse renovations are proposed, and 2 being the 3rd floor renovations are proposed. Realistically, whether they'll be done or not in a year, I honestly can't say. But especially with the 3rd floor, it is a health and safety nightmare, and if it is not dealt with soon, there is going to be an issue. The thing I imagine that was probably on the fellow that gave the questions mind was, I want to provide more support for people that go abroad and do years in industry. Ed has actually done some of that this year, and I want to expand on that. And whilst it may very well be a welfare issue, it's something that is quite close to me because I'm from Mechenge. There's a lot of people there that like to do a year abroad, a year in industry. It's a huge boost for a CV, and I don't think it's pushed enough. And I think half the problem that it's not pushed enough is because there isn't that support for people that come back. People that come back, they say, oh, this has changed while I've been away, these modules aren't available. You know, as the others have said, you're not just the activities officer, you're a trustee of the union. And you're not just focused on societies, you're focused on everybody.
Let's hear from Chris Berry, please.
First, let's say well done to the guy who's actually reading manifestos. That's quite impressive. No one else seems to be. In my manifesto, I basically highlighted a problem, suggested a solution, and then said why the solution will help to tackle this. So I believe that and I also believe all mine are manageable. And I feel that when I've implemented them, they actually explain what they go towards doing. I think though mine are quite specific to societies, they can help to benefit the union as a whole, such as like the Fruity one. Fruity still does really well, but the sales have gone down since previous years. So it's about also getting more people involved with it and getting more input into it to help generate money in the union, which they can go directly back to societies, and not just to societies, but to just students as a whole. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
How realistic is your manifesto? Jack Bell, please.
Firstly, with IMS Sport, I have a very strong working relationship with those who are involved in IM Sport, so I'd say that I'm the only candidate that would be able to do something about it without treading on a lot of people's toes. And secondly, with my manifesto, as many people know, it is informed, very well informed by feedback from almost every society. And I'd say I've been questioned about my one free night at Fruity for societies, and I've worked it out. It will cost around £70,000 to the union in tickets, but you can't put a price on how much these people are putting into their clubs and societies for the union. And I'd say giving them that as a reward is priceless.
Chloe Robertshaw.
I think my manifesto strikes a balance between stuff that's really, really easily accomplishable, but also stuff that's completely unrealistic. I think I've asked union employers, I've asked societies, they all think it's really realistic and can be achieved. For example, the 10% discount at essentials for events in the union. I believe, I'm aware that a society already has that, so I feel like if you've got one society's got that, why shouldn't it be offered to all societies if we all contribute to the union equally?
Okay, we have time for one last question from the floor. In fact, you've asked one already. It's a comment. Let's get a comment from this gentleman here, and then a question from somebody else.
I just regarding actually about your whole 10% discount thing. I work in essentials at the moment, okay, and I'm sure you're aware it's very public knowledge that the union is down on its footfall and its finances. And I personally think if you're going to give 10% discount to students, it is wholly unrealistic. I think it's been really, really difficult. I mean, you say, you know, I just don't think it can be done. But that's my opinion, really. I mean, other things in the union will suffer if you're going to charge less in that shop. But they already try and get the prices down. I think it's a ridiculous policy.
Thank you, sir. If we had more time, we would get responses. But first, let's get a question from you, please.
I know from experience of being involved in a society that managing finances within the society, so paying for things, can be a real hassle because of the cash office. What do you want to do to make it a bit easier for societies to manage their own finances?
How a society is going to manage their own finances better? Chris Powell, please.
I think you're right. The cash office is a bit of a nightmare. Having been a treasurer of a society before, I know from first-hand knowledge that they are maybe not the most agreeable people to always get things done swiftly. I think societies being able to just access maybe if it was just their bottom line balance online is something that needs to be brought in and can be brought in. I know that they've brought in card machines now. That I don't know if I know that some societies don't know this. So when it comes to paying for things, especially performance societies, when they have shows in the Riley, if there's that option for people coming to see that performance pay on card, is something that's, well, it's invaluable, and then it can get queues done much quicker. Thank you.
Chris Berry next, please.
Yeah, the cash office is a common issue with a lot of people. There's been a lot of talk of an online cash office being brought in, but the problem with this, it'll be quite time-consuming to date. It'll take a fair few years to do, and it'll cost quite a lot of money. And I want to make sure we're benefiting students who are here right now, rather than the ones in the future, because we need to make sure those who are here now are happy with it being run to encourage more to come. In my manifesto, I've mentioned a separate cash office, which will be with staff tailored to the over 300 societies we have and use that cash office, who can be tailored to the society's needs and also be open at more student-friendly hours. I also want to have a mentor scheme, which will be people who are if you have someone who's been a successful treasurer in one of the societies, they can also provide assistance to those who are struggling. There are some societies at the moment who are in debt to the union, and the problem is they've been in debt for several years, because every year when they try and get rid of this debt, they then have to switch all over the positions when the hustings comes around, and yet there's new people who have to come in and then tackle this debt that's just been going on for years. So these people need more assistance as well, those who are in like a cash crisis.
Jack Bell, please. Society finances.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that question, actually, because with such a well-informed manifesto, if I say so myself, that is one of the main action points. The cash office is a big issue for many clubs and societies. Mine, like with rugby, I've come across many issues, and we came up with the realistic solution of getting just internet banking for balances. So not necessarily transactions, but within the next year we should be able to get an internet banking system in which you can just log in with your details. You say your president, your treasurer and your secretary could all have access to it, and then you can get it within seconds rather than having to wait 24 hours to see a paper balance which might not even be up to date.
Chloe Robertshaw, please.
I think the cash office is an absolute nightmare. I've done a lot of work with the cash office in my year as president. I think it's unrealistic to think you're going to get an online system completely, but I think you can get online balances, like it's already been said. You can get online balances. A lot of the stuff can be done online. There are already card machines that can be used for societies if they've got shows on. I think the fact that some people don't know about that is an issue, because I think that should be publicised more, that you can get card machines, because it's so much easier. But even with the card machines, you then have to submit a paper record of what you've sold. So I think getting rid of the paper system completely is my main aim with the cash office, and sort of pioneering that, because there is already steps in place to get the cash office online, but I think someone really needs to pioneer that.
And Alex Dolly.
Yeah, I agree with what was just said, that getting an online system in a year isn't realistic. As Chris said, we need something that suits students now. I don't know if any of you remember Esther when she used to run the cash office, but she did a fantastic job, and effectively her role has been disseminated. I want to effectively get somebody in the cash office. I want to make sure that they are the one that is responsible and that this is going to be their priority, so they're going to do what they're supposed to do, and you're not going to have to wait 2-3 days, even 6. I know my treasurer's in the audience and he's had a lot of problems with them, waiting 6 days just for a statement. So getting somebody that is responsible for this.
Chris Bennell, please.
Yeah, I've been quite realistic in my manifesto about the cash office, because I don't think anything's going to change hugely. I don't think internet banking, and I've spoken to various people around the union, Ed Elliott, the cash office, it's not going to happen within the next year. I'll work towards it, but it's not going to come in. What instead that I've thought about is having an identity card scheme for all people who have access to the cash office. They can have a card with their society account number on it, their face, their position, and to get a balance checker. So it takes, as it's been mentioned, 5 days to get a balance, which is ridiculous when you're trying to, organise a ball or an event. So having just a little cash machine like they do in banks, where you just put in your card and it tells you how much money you've got in your account, would make the whole process of running a society so much easier for so many people.
Gary Wood, please.
I'm president this year and I was treasurer last year, so it's something I know quite a lot about. It's not specifically on my manifesto, but I was under the impression that they were already trying to implement an online system and it hasn't come in yet. That's why I didn't really mention it, so I think it's a case of checking the progress of that. I think it is something we could push to get next year, because I think it's achievable if they've already put that in place. And I think a lot of it is awareness. I know a lot of people complain that it's taken ages to get statements, but personally I just go straight up to the help desk and get them printed off there and then. So I think a lot of people don't know you can do that, and I think that's the main case, is that people need to know these things. And same with the card machine. I used one recently and a lot of people don't know that you can get them. So just trying to spread the word of what you can actually get from the cash office.
Maya Dom, please.
I'm not going to talk about the online thing, because I think we've kind of covered that. Basically, at the start of the year, there's like an induction for societies, and there's something about the cash office there. So I think it's important to like build on that and on not just the online, because there's like an online induction, but then you can also go into the cash office and like learn about it firsthand if you're like the treasurer or something like that. So it's important just that people know how to use it to the best of its ability, know about the things like the card machine. And then I also think it's about like sharing knowledge amongst people. Like we needed money for the club, and cheerleading put on an event, and we raised like almost £1,500 with just one event. So that worked out quite well for us. But yeah, just like working together with other people, sharing ideas, working as a union, and yeah.
And finally, Greg Sturge.
I think online banking has to be the ultimate goal. At the end of the day, we've got a year in this position, maybe two if whoever gets it decides to restand. But you have to keep building for the future. You can't focus everything on that 1 year and expect everything to be completed. So I think steps towards that online system do have to be taken, statements being the first one, fast and easy transactions being the second. I also think that a lot of people, when they leave, do feel a lot of attraction to the club they're involved in, and therefore alumni memberships are going to be critically important, particularly in the economic climate we're in. So there does need to be some sort of provision from the cash office to be able to offer a system where you can actually get alumni memberships paid directly into your account, and that'll really help bolster club finances.
Greg Sturge there. That is the end, sadly, of this section. As always, you can check on the website leedsuniversityunion.org.uk for the full manifestos. But for now, let's get another round of applause for our activities officer candidates.
So those were all the candidates for Activities Officer, 9 of them there. The biggest category we've got in today's question time. A lot of you have been getting involved on Twitter. You can tweet us at Leeds Student TV with the hashtag LEADLUU. Lucas Sherdle has been expressing his opposition against the idea of a separate athletics union, which was mentioned by some of the candidates just there. Clay Knight has been commenting on the amount of candidates there are this year. There are quite a lot. It's the biggest we've seen in the last 5 years or so. Joe Bookbinder has said that probably the most legendary opening line in Lead LUU, with Jack Bell rocking the mic there. And there have been a lot of questions coming in. Tom Dixon has also been saying, as if people are dismissing intramural sport, it's a fantastic way for departments and, more importantly, halls to bond and promote. Make sure you keep getting your opinions in on Twitter. That's at Leeds Student TV or hashtag LeadLUU. We will read them out on air as well. And up next, we have got welfare. But before that, here's a quick reminder of the manifestos for everybody running for Activities Officer.
Yeah, let's take a look at them. So first up we have Activities Officer, and there are 9 candidates running for this position this year. And to start with, we have Jack Bell, who is, in his own words, campaigning for Wednesdays from 12 p.m. for class to be dismissed. And some people are speculating whether or not this refers to some of his previous escapades. He also wants to streamline the system for sports clubs, modernise the cash office, and give 1 free fruity per year to every society. Next up we have Christopher Burnell, who wants to introduce a performance hour in the union to allow societies and clubs to showcase their talents in front of the 30,000 students we have here at Leeds. He also wants to increase opportunities for disability sports and have what's going on boards around campus to increase society advertisement, as well as giving societies access to their own web pages to allow them to put up what they want. Thirdly, we have Chris Berry, who wants to bring in a rebate for societies. For every fruity ticket they sell, they will get £1 back. Not only that, but a maximum of 24 hours first response from the union for any society inquiries, and also bringing in a society mentoring scheme to help kickstart and run societies. Our next candidate is Alex Doddy, who wants to bring in a separate fund for groups going to competitions, a return pack for people who've taken a year abroad to bring them up to speed on what's changed in their course and around the union, and make more space available to societies. Our first of 2 female candidates for this position is Maya Dom. She wants to bring in a sports portal, or Sportal as she calls it, for fixtures and events info and sections for intramural sport. Also wants a fringe festival to showcase the talents of societies, individuals and groups, and discounts for committee members at the union shops and cafes. Christopher Powell is up next, and he wants to help gain sponsorship for societies to improve funding, build on the intramural sports programme and simplify the formation process for societies. Chloe Robertshaw is the second of our female candidates, and she wants to reorganise Give It a Goes, specifically targeting them towards groups, a wristband system to give discounts for societies when they're giving performances, and an online system for the cash office. Our penultimate candidate for this position is Greg Sturge. He wants to allow students to use all facilities around the university if they wish to use the time to study. He wants to have a sponsorship fair at the start of the year to allow societies to gain their own sponsorship and lower the cost of the Edge membership so that sports societies can run that little bit cheaper. Finally, we have Gary Wood, who wants to bring in a central board space in the union to promote opportunities for people to get involved, help smaller societies secure sponsorship and cheaper socials within the union with a cashback scheme. And that rounds up our activities candidates for this year.